It's 30 degrees in Jacksonville, 18 in Kilkenny, 21 on Brighton Beach. It's nice in Brighton Beach at the moment. This is TealTalk. I'm Jay Lawrence. Still no relation. He's Kee Ramsuran. How are you doing, Kee? Are you doing okay?
Will that ever get old, saying the no relation thing?
Honestly, I think it's probably been old for a couple of weeks, to be honest with you, mate.
I was just in Brighton Beach. It was absolutely lovely.
All right. Big show this week. Actually, I'm really excited about this one as well. We are joined on this episode by Jags running back Travis Etienne, who is celebrating a big milestone, actually, I think, in his career, actually, Kee. We're not going to reveal it all, but a big milestone in his career this week. UK Jags super fan Jamie joins us with the big question. We have actually a really exciting big Duval dispatches with tons of news, including a chance to get out to Jacksonville for a game with Elite Travel Sports. And we're going to look forward to Monday Night Football this week against the Buffalo Bills. Very exciting. A huge game, Kee. After week 2 disappointment, we'll focus on the Bills in a bit. We need to go through week 2, though, don't we, Kee? I don't know how much I want to talk about it, but I feel like...
Do we need to go through it, Jay?
Can we
not just move on?
I feel like we need to. I feel like it's something that we have to talk about, don't we? There were multiple times when I was watching the game, Jags going down 18-13 at home to the Cleveland Browns, when I thought, they're going to get back into it here, but it just didn't seem to happen, did it?
No, dude. If I'm being completely honest, they didn't look great on Sunday. It reminded me of when Gardner Minshew was quarterback.
Okay.
That's what it felt like. Okay. It felt as poor as the 2020 season when the Jags literally couldn't do anything. It was a hard watch. This team is better than that. They are better than that. And I think on Sunday, it looked like they were their own worst enemies. I think there's better stuff to come this season, but it was a really tough watch. They didn't play well, man.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you. And I think what's really frustrating is you could see that it's almost like laborious. Look at me with the big word, laborious. And it was, everything just seemed quite hard, especially for the offense, especially in the first half, only scoring 3 points. Trevor Lawrence with 16 yards passing in the first half, Kee. 16 yards.
I thought that was lugubrious.
That's not a real word, and you know it.
No,
is it a real word?
If you're going to use big words, I'm going to use them.
Do you know what? I said laborious. I thought, I don't know if that was the right word. I don't know if that made sense in context. The
first half was shocking.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I've heard people going, oh yeah, but the defense played really well. Did they? They were playing against basically a backup Browns offense, and they were on the field for 20 minutes. Like, I don't think that is that great, personally. I mean, am I wrong?
Well, I disagree with you in that respect. I watched the game as it happened. I watched it back again yesterday, taking notes from what people said. And it was interesting seeing the difference in the defense, I think, particularly in the first half and the second half. The second half, I do genuinely believe that the defense
played... The second half was better.
It was definitely better. There's no doubt about it. The second half was better for the Jags defense compared to the first. And mostly because I know the offense didn't play well in the first half, in the second half, but in the first half particularly. But they barely had the ball because the defense couldn't get Cleveland off the field. It was an incredibly long drive. I don't know how. I think it was a 16-play drive or something like that for the Cleveland Browns.
Of the first quarter, wasn't
it? It was a really long period of time, which meant that the Jags obviously didn't have much time to be on offense in the first half, but the Browns, the Jags defense didn't do enough to get them off the field. Now, second half, totally improved. And at the end of the day, 18 points the Cleveland Browns scores. Now, let's remember there was a safety in this game as well.
So 16
points
by the
defense. And I really think that this sentence is enough, really, just to not to end this conversation by any means, but I think that this is the one that hopefully should just break through. If any team scores 18 points, or if your defense lets 16 points through, you should be winning that game. There's no doubt about that, in my opinion, especially with the talent that the Jags do have on offense. I just think it hasn't shone through over the last 2 games. We've had one half in the first game of the season against the Dolphins, and then the last 3 have not been great. No Evan Ingram in this game. Do you think that made a difference?
No Christian Kirk. I mean, yes, he was there. Yeah. I do think that makes a little bit of a difference. I don't think it's a game change because look at the way they're playing. I don't think bringing Evan Ingram onto the field or him being there, I don't think it makes enough of a difference to turn that game around, because I think it's a deeper problem than that. I think it goes all the way to from top to bottom, coaching to every single rep. And I think it needs looking at. I think a lot of it is probably psychological. Some of it on the field, a lot of it might be attitude. It's all stuff that can be changed, I reckon. But yeah, it didn't look great. You know, when you're trying to do something and you get in your own head about it and it makes it all harder to do. That's what it felt like watching them. It felt like they were so frustrated with what they were doing. There was no oomph to any of it. And it felt like they had become their own worst enemy on Sunday. And I felt like if that was solved, if you solve that, then the actual talent and the capabilities that this team has can start to shine through. But until they break that barrier down, it just doesn't feel like it's going to happen at the moment.
You mentioned Christian Kirk, and I'm actually going to speak about him a little bit later on, actually, in the show. But Christian Kirk he did have a touchdown brought back, to be fair to him. But for one catch for -1 yard, Christian Kirk.
Wow.
Your best friend Cam Little missing a chip shot, not going to help in a game which is... it's fine margins at the best of times in an NFL game, but when it's, little points.
Have you seen the facial hair? He looks excellent.
I wasn't focusing on it, to be honest. I wasn't focusing on it.
Dude, Cam Little missing that chip shot isn't great. Weather?
Yeah, I suppose. Weather, question mark? A couple of things really quickly. Jags now 1-7 in their last 8 regular season games.
Oh, yeah.
The only win coming against the Panthers.
It doesn't count.
Well, we could have a whole conversation about the Carolina. Yeah, against the Carolina Panthers. Let's do a couple positive things, actually, or if not positive, then not bad by any means. Yeah. Congratulations to Travis Etienne. We'll be speaking to him, as I say, shortly, and we'll be talking about this as well. He's got a spot in the top 5 leading rushers in franchise history. That is nothing to be sniffed at whatsoever. Here for still a relatively short period of time, I suppose, as well. We've spoken about him before the season. We've spoken about him last week. We'll speak about him again today. Brian Thomas Jr. playing well. He is that jolt to the offense. He proved it again in the game against the Browns, Kee.
Yeah, I like the look of it. Do you know what? I was having a conversation yesterday where I said, when we had the question from... I think it was Brit Jag, wasn't it, from Lee, who said who might make the Hall of Fame, and it was before the season had started, and I ridiculously said Brian Thomas Jr. And now I'm feeling like, am I going to be famous when he gets into the Hall of Fame? Will there be like clips of me saying that?
Well, he's been the highlight of the offense. I mean, you could argue that the Jags need to get him more involved, but it's one of those things that. He is playing like I suppose he did in LSU at the moment. He is stretching the field. In reality, he is having those big plays that the Jags need him to have. It's the other receivers that need to step up, that play underneath, a little bit more.
So I'm not an X's and O's person massively, but I saw a couple of videos where people were talking about how if his route running gets better, it helps the offensive line. So apparently, yes, he's like flying down the field, which is fantastic. But there are things about his route running which need to improve, which then helps the offensive line, which then helps Trevor, and so on and so forth. But rookie season, I'm sure he'll get there. Yeah.
And also Josh Hines-Allen, first sack of the 2024 season. Lovely. He's got that new contract. He's validated it now. So one sack.
He's opened the floodgates now, Jay. Now it all starts.
Yeah, open the floodgates. Okay, so we mentioned him a little bit earlier on. He's now got a spot in the top 5 leading rushers in franchise history. Let's hear from Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne. Joined by Travis Etienne, Jacksonville Jaguars running back. Travis, thank you so much for joining us on TealTalk today. Look, difficult start to the season. I think that's fair to say. 0-2. Can you just tell me what the mood is like at the Jags right now?
The mood is definitely down, but there's no panic. We have a long season ahead of us, and we just have to just lock in on our fundamentals and just lock in as a team and come together and understand that we have everything we want still in front of us. And I feel like we just got to keep taking it 1 week at a time and focus on the Bills this week and hopefully have a repeat from last year, down there in London. So we just feel very confident going into this game and get that season on the right track.
How quickly do you put that disappointment behind you? When you lose a tough game as the Jags did against the Cleveland Browns, is it something that stays with you, or do you just have to put it past you, like literally the next day?
Well, for me, I don't know how every guy does it, but for me, it kind of takes 48 hours. Just those next 2 days, it really bites at me. It really just eats at me. I probably watch it like 2 or 3 times, and whenever I'm back on Wednesday and we install a new game plan, that's kind of when you have to move. You have to move past it because you can't let that last game trickle into the next game, because then you can't expect a different result thinking about something that happened in the past week. You have to just keep your mind forward, think about next play mentality, and thinking about being your best version of yourself whenever you do step on the field again, so you don't have that same result.
I think it's also weird to say congratulations as well, but I have to say congratulations. Despite the fact the Jags lost against the Browns, you're now in the top 5 leading rushers in franchise history. I mean, did you know that was a possibility? Is that something that you knew was going to happen? You feel good about?
Honestly, I didn't know until now. I didn't know until now.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you. Not because I've been off of all social medias. The season isn't going the way I wanted. I feel like social media is kind of a terrible place to be on there when life is not good. And I just kind of been locked in, but I feel like it's a great accomplishment. But I feel like it's still more things out there to achieve, and we're still looking for our first win. And I feel like once we get that first win, that's when we'll be celebrating.
Travis, you mentioned playing against the Bills, which obviously is coming up on Monday night. Last season against them at Spurs in the UK, you had an absolute blinder of a game. Can you talk to us about your memories of that, and are you hoping to replicate that again on this coming
Yes, sir.
Monday?
We're definitely hoping to replicate. Maybe we do better. We're trying to do better. We're trying to do better. But just remembering that game, I remember just waking up. The weather kind of was down all weekend. It was kind of like a little chilly, but just that Sunday, it was amazing. It was so beautiful, and I just kind of knew it was going to be a great day. And I kind of love London because y'all don't cheer for first downs. There's no cheering for first downs. You only get a roar for touchdowns, which I love. And you kind of want the reaction of the crowd, kind of get them involved. And we were just doing great all day. We just had a great energy about ourselves. Felt fast out there, and we just got the crowd into it, and the guys were playing with each other, and we came out with a W.
I mean, just to put it into context, 184 scrimmage yards, 2 rushing touchdowns as well last year against the Bills. What are you guys focused on looking ahead to the Bills this week? Is it just a case of polishing things up, executing?
Most definitely. I feel like it's all about us. You hear Coach Peterson talk about it all the time. It's all about us. We have to focus on the things that we can control. We have to go out there as an offense. We have to 11 have to play as one. That's the only way we're going to win. Just everybody doing their job each and every play. We locking in and just playing with love, just playing with passion, just playing for the guy next to you. And I feel like everything else is going to take care of itself.
And you mentioned Jags fans there as well, saying we make it hard for you. You got to work for it if you're going to celebrate just for touchdowns and not just for first downs. What do you think? What's it like playing in front of a London crowd? Comparing that to Jacksonville or around the rest of the US.
Honestly, it's amazing because just me being a kid from Jennings, Louisiana. I would have never thought that I'd be playing football in London. And so I feel like every time I'm out there and I have the opportunity to play in front of people who never don't know who I am from Adams, never seen football really, but it's a chance for me to go out there and show them who I am for the first time. So I feel like for me, I'm always going out there and trying to put my best foot forward. And I feel like I love the stadiums and the crowd just be amazing. I remember they were singing a song and I'm trying to get the call from Trevor, and I cannot hear. It's just so loud. But it's just an amazing feeling just going out there and being able to play. And then in America, the game show is early, so I know my grandmother's waking up and she's putting the game on first thing. So I'm trying to go out there and make plays with grandma too.
What's the thing that when you come over here to London that you look forward to the most? Is it the entire experience? You know, and you're of course you're back. You know, it's only a couple of weeks until you're back.
For me, it is the entire experience. I definitely love going shopping. I definitely love food. I love sightseeing, honestly, and I would say I feel like it gives me a peace of mind just being away and just being out there. And we're out there for 2 weeks now, which is amazing because I don't have to try to cram everything into 3 days. I get to take my time and do things, and I feel like I get really great rest out there too, which I love.
Key, there's been a question, isn't there, that we've been asking the last... who have we asked so far? We had Ross Matsig, we've had Evan Ingram...
and then last week we had Foyer
Yeah.
talking about it. And actually, Travis, you just mentioned it because you mentioned food. So what we've been asking is, of all the food that you get in the UK, what is the one thing that you don't get in the UK that you would like to have?
So quite honestly, I don't know, but it's these potato chips. I want to say it's some kind of cocktail. I know it's a pinkish bag.
Prawn Cocktail.
Those are what I need.
Well, you love them in the UK.
You can send me some of those. You can send me 10 boxes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll send you 10 boxes of those if you can send some Zaps over, man, because I've been trying to get some of those, those crisps around here, and you can't get them whatsoever.
For sure, we can definitely trade.
What about the US though? I mean, what about food from the US? Is there Ross Matisik said that he couldn't have. He's having ranch. We don't have ranch really over here. Is there anything that you want to introduce us to?
Honestly, if I can introduce you to anything, it would be my mother's cooking.
Okay.
What's your mom's best dish?
Best dish. That's kind of hard. That's kind of hard because I feel like everything she touches is just amazing. But I would probably say, I'll probably say her. I love her gumbo. Her gumbo is really good. Whenever we were in London, it was cold last year. It was a little chilly last year, and I definitely was missing gumbo. I was definitely missing gumbo.
So you went to Europe this summer, Travis? Tell us about it.
Oh no, it was amazing. It was like I wouldn't say culture shocking, but I feel like it just provided me with so much perspective for life, and I feel like I really realized that we was put here to travel and see different places, and not really just be stuck in where we grew up at. And I feel like I want to do more traveling as I keep getting older and older because I'm not getting younger, so I need to see the world while I can. And I feel like it was an amazing trip, and I'm just grateful that I went on it.
What was your favorite place that you went to?
My favorite place that I ever been to, or when I went to Europe?
No, this summer. Yeah.
I'll probably say Costa Rica. I went to Costa Rica, and it was very amazing. I feel like they just say Pura Vida, and I feel like that really stuck with me. Just live in the moment, and don't let life be too stressful. Too many people out here let the stresses of life get to them, and we can't do that. So I feel like going to Costa Rica, learning Pura Vida is really helping me get through these 2 games, and hopefully we'll be great vibes next weekend.
Thanks so much, Travis. Appreciate that. Thanks for joining us. Travis, Etienne, Key.
Who knew that Europe was so big? Now includes Costa Rica. I had to say it. Sorry.
Nice guy, and honestly, as a massive fan of gumbo, I am looking forward to him bringing over a big vat of gumbo to
that sounds awesome,
for us all to eat. Okay, so we are still going to be joined by a big Jaguars fan for the big question this week. Actually, Key, before we do that, we have spoken about, I don't know if we've spoken about it on the show or not, but producer Simon has been incredibly unsubtle at points and said that my background is not as sexy as it could be. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see what I mean. It's not too bad. Could be worse.
It's not too bad.
But anyway, so he sent me something, and it's absolutely massive, like way bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Where are we going with this, Jay?
Okay. He sent me a bit of Jags merch. So I don't know what really I was expecting, maybe like a Jags jersey or something like that. Let's just see. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this. All right, let's just see how big this is. How big? This is. Can you describe this for me?
Well, for a start, it's bigger than your head.
Yeah, it's massive.
which is pretty big. A shield with Jags and the Jags logo.
It's bigger than your ego, which is massive, is essentially what Kee just said.
Oh, no, the ego was still coming out the sides there, Jay. But it covered up your physical head.
So there we go. It's a big Jags shield. That,
dude, you've put it in front of the only other thing that has Jags in front of it. Put it on the other side.
Can I do this?
There we go.
It's going to fall over there. Does that work? Oh, it's there for the time, but it's there for the rest of the episode.
For next week.
Anyway.
Sort it out for next week. It looks great.
Yeah. Okay, time for Duval Dispatches. A big one, Kee, this time around. Have you ever been to Everbank? If not, we have the package for you. Jaguars UK have partnered with Elite Sports Travel to bring you the best possible game weekend during week 15 of the season versus the New York Jets. 4-night trip, Kee, from Thursday the 12th to Monday the 16th of December. So you can leave UK weather behind. Get on over to Florida with hotel accommodation and tickets to the game on the Sunday, the 15th of December. But so much more as well, because we're talking about a Friday night evening social event hosted by the lovely man that is Neil Reynolds, who actually met for the first time the other week. You'll know him off of Sky Sports. I met him for the first time the other week. Had a long chat about, unsurprisingly, the NFL. A Q&A alongside a Jacksonville Jaguars legend too. And you can spend Saturday relaxing on the beach, which is, you wouldn't do that probably in December in the UK, as well as, trying out all the restaurants and stuff. Kee, where would you recommend?
Or Atlantic Beach, couple of places, right? I'm going to go with Hawker's, incredible Asian street food, and someone in there introduced me to a lovely beverage called a sake mom. Google how to make that, and then I would recommend concluding your evening at the lovely Pete's Bar, which has pool tables, it has music out the back. It's great. I was in there for one drink an evening.
Researcher Georgia suggested the Flying Iguana. I suppose you can put wicked as well. 11 South as well. These are just words to me.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Lovely.
Of course, you can see the sights around the city while you're there. Maybe even actually you can play a spot of golf as well. I'm not a golfer. I'm not a very good golfer, but I know that loads of people love going out there, don't they, to play some golf.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an amazing course out there. I can't remember what it's called.
TPC Sawgrass, home of the Players' Championship. So there we go.
There you go. That's the one.
Game day will provide all the NFL is famous for. So much going on to give you the best possible experience. Now you can find out more by visiting elitesportstravel.co.uk. Now we keep on teasing you as well with the possibility of more tickets for Wembley. I've had people reach out to me on social media, be like, are there going to be more tickets available? And we're going to just not tell you about that yet, to be honest. We're going to keep on doing that. Do follow us on our social channels to keep across the news, though. Jay. And stay tuned for all the exciting activity planned for game week across our social channels. And subscribe to the Union Jacks newsletter on jaguars.co.uk. There is, of course, the TV show on Sky Sports NFL, Kee. I went and flicked on the first episode this week, and then I didn't realise that actually we were going to be in it. So I was in my living room watching me in my living room on the telly, which was a little bit meta and a bit strange, to be honest with you, but I'm for it. I was having my breakfast. I enjoyed it. What's going to be on the Sky show this week, Kee?
Jay, when you direct a TV show and you also host a podcast,
you have to put yourself in it.
You've got to put yourself in it. I
look forward to us being in it every week.
What's in it this week? This week we have highlights, analysis. The best bit for me is a nice chunky interview. Reece Parkinson sits down with Coach Nielsen, and it's not X's and O's. It's really lovely getting to know Coach Nielsen a little bit, and yeah, it's really nice, long, chunky interview, and I really enjoy it. So that's going to be a cracker this week. Okay, and when can people watch it, and where can people watch it, Kee? Wednesday night, 9 p.m, Sky Sports, NFL, and then repeats throughout the week. And for extra content, you can go to the Jags UK YouTube channel and see all the extra lovely stuff. All right, I think it's time, Kee, for the big question. This is where we get on a Jacksonville Jaguars fan from the UK and Ireland
to give us the big question, a question that I need to answer, that you need to answer, that they need to answer. This week, hello to Jags UK Super fan, Jamie Phillips. Jamie, what is the big question?
After watching the last 2 weeks of games, I'd like you to name one player who's going to make the biggest impact for the team for the rest of the season.
Okay. It's difficult, this, isn't it? Because it's a short sample size. Now, I suppose, Jamie, there's a couple different ways you can answer this, which are who has made a big impact, who we see continuing that, or, I mean, can we also look at players that we think need to have more of an impact, maybe, that we think could be that X factor? Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Kee, do you have an answer?
Okay, I'm going to give two names then. I'm going to give one based on the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to give another based on player performance over several years and skill level. Right. Based on the last 2 weeks, Brian Thomas Jr., I think, can make a massive difference to this season. I think the ceiling is so high for him. I think he's already shown that he can fly down the field. He can open up the possibilities for Trevor to throw deep. I think the more he improves, the more possibilities he brings to this offense. So that's based on the last 2 weeks. My other answer, which would be not necessarily based on the last 2 weeks, but based on what he's done for this team since 2017, would be Josh Hines-Allen, because I think he's huge and I think you can never write him off. And I think now that he's got 1 sack in week 2, that just leads to 19 more sacks this season, and he breaks his own record.
Okay, I think they're very good answers. I mean, I could have guessed that you'd have said Brian Thomas Jr. I'm just surprised you didn't say...
Why am I so obsessed with him?
I'm just surprised you didn't say Cam Little, to be fair, as well, because you're two favourites. I think that Brian Thomas Jr., I mean, Jamie, I'm sure you can agree with that, to be honest. That's an understandable choice there. If you look at, I said earlier on the podcast, didn't I, the bright spark, that injection of energy that the offense has had and needed actually at points over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to stick with the receiver core, and I'm going to go a completely sort of different route, and I am going to go with, as I said earlier, we have Brian Thomas Jr., we have that person who is stretching the field, doing so successfully at points. Maybe we need even more of it, but we need those players underneath that can play those different routes. And I think that Christian Kirk needs to step up. Now, it's only been 2 games, so maybe that's a bit of a harsh way of saying it, to be honest. But minus 1 yard in the last game. It's 2 games played, 2 catches, total of 29 yards. Now, if we look back to 2 years ago, fairly successful season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 1,000 yards for Christian Kirk, 8 touchdowns. Now, obviously, last year, less touchdowns. He still managed to get nearly 800 yards. And I feel like, as it is at the moment...
And was out for quite a bit.
Exactly, he was out for... So, in fact, when you think of it, you think about that, yeah, okay, the touchdowns weren't there. 3 touchdowns, he's not going to be happy with that. But considering he was out for a while, the nearly 800 yards isn't awful. You need somebody else to step up in that receiver group. Because you can't just have this one guy throwing at this one guy who's stretching the field every time, because it becomes pointless and it will never work. You need those people underneath. So I feel like if you get Christian Kirk back into the offense, back into the groove of things, and as I said earlier, he did have a touchdown that was ruled out. I think even something like an illegal shift or something like that on the offensive line. I might be wrong. If you get him back into the groove of things, get that relationship that we know he's had with Trevor Lawrence, then hopefully, the offense can push on. What about you, Jamie?
Valid points from you all there. Definitely knew who Kee was going to pick, because he's been running that drum for 2 months now.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous.
Brian Thomas Jr. was definitely brilliant.
Both of us knew, let's just not pick him, because otherwise because we know who Kee's going to pick, so there's no point.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I thought you was going to pick Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised you didn't pick that one. But yeah, Christian Kirk, very valid. Needs to have a good shift in these next few games to kind of build that confidence, that momentum back up on that offense. It's what we really need, that wide receiver one to do that. But for me, the two players I was kind of toying between who I was going to pick was especially Oluokun. Oluokun is kind of the staple on that defense. He's key for the continuous success on that defense and holding opposition's offenses to 20 points or less, which is always kind of the key. And Trevor Lawrence mentioned that in his press conference at the end of the game this week, that the defense are doing their job by conceding less than 20 points. It's now the offense's job to go out there and to go and score more than 20. So Oluokun, he's played a vital part in that in numerous years now, very similar to Josh Hines-Allen. But I think also the next player I would choose would be Trayvon Walker. I see 2 sacks in week 1. No sacks, unfortunately, this week. However, he is going to play a vital part in the success of Josh Hines-Allen. He did last season. And the duo that those two are kind of making between each other on them outsides is going to be mean for years to come. He's obviously going into a contract year probably next year. So he's going to want to play out of his skin to get the big money as well going into the future of the Jaguars. So they're my two.
You've chosen their 2 defensive players. Is that because you have trust that the offense is going to get rolling again and the defense just needs to continue what they've shown mostly over the last 2 games?
No.
Okay.
You guys picked the offense, so I was just giving you kind of a bit of a balancing act, to be honest. I do think it is going to come. It will come with the offense. I think Kirk is the vital part of that. Gabe Davis has shown some good spells in there. Brian Thomas Jr., obviously, he stood out massively. It was a shame we missed out on Evan Ingram this week. Brenton Strange did fit in quite nicely with that. But it was a shame not to have Ingram out and just getting a full squad offense out there. I think we can be mean. We saw that. We saw that last season. We saw it the season before. We've just got to get the ball rolling. We've had a tough start to the season. We've got another tough couple of games coming up. And I think the Monday night game is the time to really go out there and prove who we are on the big stage for everybody to see.
And Mitch Morse as well, actually, is something else I think that should be considered there as well. And of course, the Jag Centre will be playing against his former team this Monday on Monday Night Football, which is going to be, I think it's fair to say a tough game. We will speak about it a little bit later to me and Kee, but what do you think is the... I hate saying the word Kee on this podcast when I'm not referring to Kee.
This guy.
I hate it, but I'm going to have to say, what do you think is key in the game this Monday, Jamie?
I'm very defensive minded. Obviously, I used to play defense myself, so that also sticks in there. So it's key to keep Bill's offense low, less than 20 points, as we keep on saying. It's really key to stop their Josh Allen. There's no confusion anymore now going into this week. But it's really key to stop their offense moving. And I think we just need to get the ball rolling on our side. Our O-line probably needs to give Trevor Lawrence and Etienne a bit more time and a bit more space, which will then give us that leeway to allow to pass to Brian Thomas Jr. and allow us to make great passes to Christian Kirk. Because once Trevor Lawrence has been given 2-3 seconds kind of in that pocket, the ball flies and is accurate.
I want to just say, give you, kudos as well, plaudits on your background. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see all of our backgrounds. As we know, mine is always considered the best background of whoever is on. Kee is obviously last, and then I think that sarcasm maybe doesn't come across very well on the podcast. Jamie, you've got 2 helmets there. Talk to me about when you got those.
Yeah, so I like to collect memorabilia, Jacksonville Jaguars memorabilia. The 2 helmets I've got here, the one at the top, sorry, this doesn't look good for podcasts or sound good for podcasting. However, hopefully you're watching on YouTube. But the one at the top is a signed replica helmet from multiple players in the 2017 and 2018 season. I was fortunately allowed to go to open practice with obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars when they hosted it in the stands. I believe we was at Allianz Park, I think it was where we were in 2017, and we was fortunate to get many of the players come over. So that's probably got about 30, maybe 40 signatures on that one. The second one down is camo helmet, replica helmet as well. That's signed by multiple players from signings that I've attended with the Jags UK. So on this one, I've got Tony Baselli, I've got Travis Etienne, and I think I've got Christian Kirk on that one as well. So.
And also,
and the great news is Jamie has offered to give those helmets away to a lucky listener of this podcast.
I was going to make the same joke. Look at us, we're in sync. We're both got the same dad jokes at the same time, Kee. I love it. That's
Jay,
so good.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be.
Are you going to the games this year then, Jamie?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be there.
Jamie, I think that's when I first met you in 2017 at Allianz Park at that open practice.
Oh, Jamie doesn't remember.
Yeah.
Oof, awkward.
I've met Kee quite a few times now. Standing outside JD and stadiums. Yeah.
Have you found out who's going to be doing the Duval at the beginning of the Wembley Stadium one?
I did listen to the podcast last week. Yeah.
Do you have any? Do you have confidence in me that I'm gonna be able to do it without cracking my voice or saying the wrong word?
Absolutely. But if you do get a cold, you have now got my details. So you can come to me. So if you get a cold and you don't have a voice that way, then you can always come over to one of us.
Before we go, Jamie, we are going to have a prediction for the Buffalo Bills game. Jags Buffalo Bills, Monday Night Football. The predictions haven't gone so far, let's put it that way. But we're going to change that this week. Jamie, can I get your prediction for the Jags Bills game?
Yeah.
And the score.
I'll be very first to admit it. I am absolutely terrible at score predictions because it goes the dead opposite way to what I normally predict. So I'm in sync with you guys there. So
all right.
I'm going to go the opposite direction to you now, Jay.
Yeah.
But we're on the podcast. Got high hopes. I think the Jaguars are going to go out this week. I think we're going to win 24-17. We're going to keep them below 20, as I keep on saying, 24-17 to the Jaguars. And I think Trevor Lawrence might rush one in for himself this week.
Dude, I love that wrinkle. Lovely addition. Very nice.
Kee, what are you saying?
I am... Do you know what? I'm going to have to rethink mine because it wasn't too different. So I'm going to go slightly more outrageous.
Oh.
I'm going to go...
It doesn't sound like you, Kee.
It doesn't. I'm going to go 34-27.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Josh Hines-Allen gets 3.5 sacks.
Okay. You're ridiculous with your...
And Cam Little scores a 70-plus yard field goal.
Cam Little gets 3.5 sacks. That'll be when it comes to week 5 or week 6. Dude, that'll be what you're saying. It's like what
else have I got left to say?
Exactly. I think it's going to be... I'm surprised you've got the Bills so low scoring there, Jamie. I think it's going to be... I think, Josh Allen for the Bills is one of my favourite quarterbacks to watch in the NFL because I feel like they're never down and out, the Bills, and that's what I think is going to be quite difficult in this game. That said, let's go for a 1-point victory, shall we? A 1-point victory for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's go 21-20.
We always seem to have the Buffalo Bills as cards, so we've got to come out with a win with that.
Exactly.
Trevor's first win at the bank was against the Bills, right?
No, at the bank. Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe.
Pretty sure it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we'll see how the predictions go. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us this time around.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's look ahead to Monday Night Football then, Kee. Buffalo Bills, Jacksonville Jaguars. Going to be a tough game. I think that's fair to say. Bills 2-0, but they've not been perfect. The key matchup. What do you think the key matchup is in this game?
I mean, it's in the trenches. Von Miller. Let's go with Von Miller. Why not? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's had a positive year this year as well after maybe having a down last season with the Bills. Exactly. Got a sack against the Dolphins, right? Last week? Yeah. Yeah.
the Jags pass game, got to improve. We know this. Against the Buffalo Bills secondary, Bills offense led by Josh Allen. I spoke about him, one of the best in the league. They will score points. I think that's fair to say. They will score points. How can the Jags defense, who have kept two teams in the Dolphins and the Browns to low scores, can they continue doing that with the Bills? And if so, and if the Jags offense manage to improve and get that relationship between Trevor Lawrence and the receivers, and the O-line managed to improve on last week, then I think that the Jags can hopefully get to get their first win on the board. But Monday Night Football, the whole of the world is going to be looking.
Exactly. What a time to do it, Jay.
Yeah,
what a time to do it.
What a time to do it. What's your situation then? When do you stay up every Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, or is it a case of you stay up every now and again? If so, what's your setup like? Have you got a duvet downstairs? I love bringing a duvet downstairs.
Yes, I will stay up and watch the game, Jay. No, being completely honest, no. I'm 40 plus now, and I have an 8-year-old daughter, so there's zero chance of me staying up to watch that game.
I was literally hoping you'd be saying you were going to bring her downstairs.
We will watch it together in the morning, though.
There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah. Is she a Jags fan?
I'll get up with her. Yeah, I'll get up with her on the Tuesday morning, and we'll watch it together in here in my studio. Yeah.
You'll be pleased to know that my setup hasn't improved as well from last week when we spoke about this. My Sunday afternoon setup. I've got a laptop. I've got a screen in front of me. Trying to watch too much on the go, but I'm still not. I haven't perfected it yet, to be honest with you. I'm not quite sure how it's going to go throughout the rest of the season. The first week I felt stressed. Second week I felt stressed because I was watching the Jags game. But it felt a little bit more calm. I think that it's probably for the realisation that the NFL is back now. Do you know what I mean?
You've got 16 games to perfect it.
16 games to perfect it.
Little improvements every week.
Little improvements every week, exactly. Okay, I look forward to it. Look forward to speaking to you next week, Kee. Bills, Jags.
Oh, please, let's say it's after a W.
Let's hope so. Bills, Jags, Monday Night Football. We'll be back next week on your podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, of course. You go subscribe there, on YouTube as well. You can even listen and then watch the show. Kee, are you going to be doing that?
I mean, I do that every week.
It's true, actually. I didn't think about it from that point of view.
I will be doing that. I'm going to do it extra just because you've said it, Jay.
This has been a Shooting Shark production for Jaguars UK and Ireland. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll be back same time, same place next week.